Welcome to another episode of the Tight 15 FPL podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm joined, as always, by two kings, Tom Mulheron and Marcus Tripodi. How are you, lads?
Good this week.
Kingly.
Yeah.
Feeling kingly.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. And we're also joined by a man who started the season on fire with 4 straight wins, but has since suffered 5 losses in a row, plummeting to the bottom of the FPL beer zone table.
That is not true.
It's the worst. 4 in a row and then now 5 in a row losing. That sucks.
Welcome, Lucas. It's great to have you here. We talk about you all the time on the pod, so it's only fair that we actually get you
You're
on.
like a celebrity.
Yeah, you are to us.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at game week 9, the head-to-head results. It was an amazing week. Some really, really good matchups. And we'll start with Tom Mulheron, who scored one of the flukiest wins this season, coming from behind to beat Bailey by 2 points. Tom had to rely on Zaha coming down with coronavirus and points off his bench. But it was enough to secure his 4th win in a row. Bailey's salty tears in the chat must have tasted so good, Tom.
So good. Bailey's tears are especially nice.
Yeah, Bailey. We're used to drinking Bailey's tears in the pod. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I love seeing that this morning. Tom, we know that you're a man who respects clutch performances. You recognised that with Grealish earlier in the season.
Yep.
Did you do it again with Alex McCarthy?
I did. I sent him a message. I'll just read the message out to you. Instagram DM. I go, mate, 8 saves? Absolutely stupid good. Clutched up and won me my fantasy matchup. I was sure I was going to lose. Hold your head up high today, King. It is.
Is it seen?
Is it seen?
No, not seen yet. Not seen yet.
Oh, that's fantastic. Tom, you backed yourself in that one, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I backed Bailey.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
I backed Bailey. So I got that wrong. Yeah.
no
That's
way.
done.
Well, this particular fixture is not being talked about enough, I think. Sam Mears has gotten a 1-point win over Nikolai.
Yeah.
I feel like that went totally under the radar today. Sam, in 5 out of the 9 games that Sam has played this season, they've finished with a margin of 5 points or less. So he's the master of the close matchup, Sam. Nikolai, we mentioned Nikolai's terrible form last week. He's tasted his 6th loss in 7 games.
He's also died in the chat as well. Do you reckon it's correlated?
Oh,
Probably
definitely.
correlated.
Yeah.
Definitely.
These Paxton boys, once they get a bit of a sniff of arrogance, you can't shut them up. But when things don't go their way, they go missing.
I'm missing.
That's for sure.
It's true. MIA.
Who did you pick in that one, Tom?
I got that right. I picked Sam. I didn't think I'd get that right, but yeah, I'm glad I got that.
Well done.
Good tip. Geordie's attempts to distract Baker from his FPL team with a botched carjacking did not work this week. As the big man claimed another victory. Geordie, many people's favourite at the start of the season, is now bottom of the overall table. And let this sink in. He's 2 points behind Bailey in overall score.
It's a disgrace. It's a true disgrace. He was picked for my top 3 and he's languishing. I hate to hear it. Hate
He's
to see it.
suffering. Tom, did you pick Geordie or Baker?
No, I picked Daniel. That's an easy one.
Yep. We've come to know that from now. Dave Murray, he's handed Perrin his first loss in this set of 5 fixtures. Tom, did you pick Dave Murray or Perrin?
I picked Perrin. Perrin was in such good form. 3 wins in a row. I thought he'd keep going, but no.
Didn't
Dave's
turn up.
back in form now. Dave's good.
I think Perrin, once he's in the beer zone, in the O zone, he's just taken the foot off the
He doesn't
pedal.
care.
Yeah.
Brian Heo wins the Battle of the Doctors with a strong performance against Tom Job. Brian likes to tell people he doesn't check his FPL or the WhatsApp
All the
group.
draft. Bull crap.
This is only a facade. Ladies and gentlemen, I spoke to his wife, Laura, earlier this week, and she said that she has caught him studying at the computer with this huge spreadsheet open. She asked him what it was about, and he said that they were patients' names with their orthopedic treatment plans on them. He looked a little closer and saw that patient Harry Kane's treatment plan
Was
involved
put in team.
involved the visit to Man City before a trip to West London and Stamford Bridge. Very suspicious.
Very suspicious. I did also have a text from Laura, or a series of texts. We do often text, just pointing out, just sending a photo of Brian under the table at dinner on FPL. And also watching a YouTube video and listening to a podcast at the same time. So, yeah, we don't like.
You should ask Laura if he listens to this podcast. That's what we want to know.
I'll text her now.
Yeah.
Isn't she there with you? Just ask her. Tom,
he's not going to like that. Brian is not going to enjoy that chat.
Or if he's watching, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Find out.
Good test to find out.
Yeah. Tom, did you pick Brian or Tom Job?
No, I picked Brian. That's another easy one. Yeah.
It's been so good having Lee Cartwright back in the chat, and he announced his return in emphatic style with a huge win over Brandon Diaz. Surely you picked Lee?
No, so what's funny is on my piece of paper, I wrote down Lee last week, but then in the video, I said Brandon. So I'm going to have to stick by what's on record. So I got that wrong. I picked Brandon. I got that wrong, unfortunately. Yeah.
Many a word. That's good.
Yeah.
Some good integrity there, Tom.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah, honestly.
High drama in this one, ladies and gentlemen. Lucas Gaspernados looked to break his 4-game losing streak against Luke as a late Wolves goal against Southampton stole the lead away from Luke and swung it back into Lucas's favour. But a controversial red card to Lamptey, which has recently been overturned by the Premier League, means the points will swing back to Luke.
Yeah.
As
Well done, Luke.
Huge.
we as a group have decided that Luke will be given the win.
Yeah. Well done, Luke.
Tough, Lucas, but it is in the name of fairness, so I'm sure you can understand.
Sounds right. We'll see about that.
Well, we'll see how it plays out in the table overall.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Tom, who did you pick there, Lucas or Luke?
I picked Lucas, which is a shame. Yeah. Damn,
Well, it's
got
not
that
a shame
wrong.
because I won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got that one
that's a
wrong.
shame.
Despite Simeon having 3 kids, Marcus proved that he's the real big daddy with
Yeah.
another stellar.
Spanked all his kids and him.
He is one of our subscribers.
Ooh. All right, edit that out. No, he added me on Facebook actually just tonight.
yeah?
That's real nice. Haven't met. I look forward to meeting him, genuinely.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
continue.
FPL bringing people together.
Yep.
Marcus, you got the second highest overall score this week. Is it too early to say that you are the head-to-head king?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I know I would bring us back to Bailey's prediction, which I think Bailey was the mouthpiece for Lucas when he said that I cannot retain this form. I agree. I don't think I can retain this form. It's like I'm dancing on like fire. I just keep going. I don't know how. But whatever. I just do not care. If I was looking at the table, I'm fairly sure. Like I reckon even the fact I'm already owed 4 beers, I reckon I'm so in the clear. Like I don't think I should be in the bottom 6, seeing up against what Geordie, Tom Job. Lightweights.
Yeah, finishing first in any set is so advantageous because those 4 beers, it's going to be really hard to work them off.
Yank them away.
Yeah, you just won't be able to do it. Tom, you picked Marcus in that one, surely.
No, I picked Simeon. I picked Simeon. I thought, well, what I said was Simeon with his double trade he made the week before would come back and lead him to win this week with no penalty, but it didn't happen. Yeah.
Unlucky. And the last matchup, and perhaps the sweetest win of the round, the curse of the pod continues.
Yes.
Love it.
Parlay, the little chihuahua.
That is my call, not yours.
Yeah.
Nipping at your heels.
That is 100% credit Lucas Gaspernados, and that was his
Thank
funny
you.
call.
The yappy little chihuahua.
It was it's so accurate. So accurate. Parlay tasted a fat L against the fantasy king. He publicly announced on the pod. This is so interesting. He publicly announced on the pod that he used his wild card to copy my team.
Yeah.
Well, we might have the same team, but it's how you manage them, Parlay.
Yeah.
I top scored for the second week in a row, whilst Parlay, with largely the same team as me, had 18 points on his bench.
On the bench. That's insanity.
Oh, I didn't
Killed
notice
him.
that.
To score the third highest total, but lose. Unlucky Parlay. That's the head-to-head for game week 9. Over to you, Marcus, for the stat of the week.
All right, start of the week, we'll start attacking. At the top of them, I realize at the start of every start of the week, I say this is going to be a quick one, and none of them are ever that quick. But the first thing I thought it'd be interesting to break down, looking at this week's scores for each manager, to break down each manager's score by position. So if you looked at their defense, which was defense and goalkeeper, midfield and attack as 3 separate things, Parlay managed a top 3 game week score of 71, with only his midfield being above the average of midfield scores for our comp, which means his midfield killed it and his defense and attack sucked. They were below the average for the rest of our game week. So yeah, his mids combined for the score of 36, whilst the average of our comp's midfield was 23, which is nearly as high as the amount of points he left on the bench, as we pointed out. Sam Mears, who ranked, he doesn't get much content in our pod, so I thought it'd be nice to give him a shout. This is a fair shout. He ranked 13th this week. He did not have an area of his team that was above the average. So every part of his team was below the average of
Oh,
what
wow.
their scores were.
But
But
he
it
got
just
both.
meant that, yeah, wait, do you have a question?
I was just going to say his only shout out is a negative one.
Yeah, well, this isn't that negative. It just shows that he's got consistency.
Yeah.
Although consistently just below the average, but the fact that he's ranked 13th, despite having an intriguing one of Nikolai, Joby, Pez, and Geordie, they all scored overall lower than Sam, but managed to have one area of their team above the average, but just showing the other areas of their team were particularly crap.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah.
So, Sam, this is a shout for consistency. Well done, my friend. And the final one was a big week for Perrin and Parlay, who finally each got a score on the extremes, falling away finally from the vanilla zones. Parlay got the 3rd highest score of the week. Pez got the 3rd lowest. Daddy's letting us down. And that's our stats of the week.
Can I just make a point about Sam? I noticed, you know how we were giving him crap about having Oriol Romeu in his team? I was looking today. He's actually, Oriol Romeu is the highest scoring midfielder under 4.6 million. So like,
What is it? What's he scored then?
he's on 26 for the season. And he's 4.5,
Is that all right?
4.5 mil. Well, like,
Oh, that is actually all right, eh?
Yeah,
when
it
you
is.
average it out over 9.
yeah, it's not too bad. So
I'm
Good on
pretty
you,
sure he
Sam.
had one big haul though, didn't he?
he did. He had a goal and assist one week. Yeah. That's what it was.
That's a master stroke to place you in 13th. That's
Yeah,
what you want.
yeah.
Well done. There's nothing wrong with Oriol Romeu as your 5th midfielder, but when you're starting him,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
that's when it's a bit of a worry. But
That's a
I think Oriol Romeu came off the bench to give Sam a 1-point win this week. So, credit to you, Sam. Well done.
Give it up.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Marcus. They're great. So interesting. Stats of the week. I love it. Tom, over to you for our beer table update.
Right.
This is interesting.
The beer table. So, as we know, it's week 4 of this cycle. So, we're getting close to week 5 where the cycle sort of is finished and we get a concrete look at who owes beers and who's receiving beers. So, we're 1 week out from that. I'll just go through it now. Brian, Marcus, and myself are all 4-0 in this cycle. So, fairly cemented in the region where they will be owed beers. The other 3 in that spot are Ryan, Daniel, and Perrin on the fringes there. Ryan with a very high total score, going with his 3-1 record, which will help him a lot. And then we go to the middle section, the middle 6, where you sort of break even, you don't owe beers or you don't receive any beers. At 2 and 2, we've got Parlay, Simeon, David, Luke, and Sam. That's interesting. And then Brandon is the only 1 and 3 player, a manager in the middle zone with because he gets there by his total score of 214. The other 1 and 3 managers all find themselves in the zone where they will owe beers, and that's Bailey, Nikolai, Lee, and Tom Job. Yeah, and then we've got 2 0-4 people, 0-4 managers, and that is Lucas and Geordie. Now,
Geordie.
you'll notice that
Bad company.
the tiebreaker between Lucas and Geordie is the total score. Lucas at 248 and Geordie at 188. So they're separated by 60 spots. 60 total score. It's a huge margin. So I think it's safe to say Geordie is fairly entrenched in that beer zone. Lucas, I don't know if he can escape. 1-4 might not get him out of there, but if he wins next week, he will be probably undoubtedly the top scoring 1-4 manager in the league.
I'd be 2-5, wouldn't I? Because I beat Luke.
You'd be 1-4.
I'd be 2-5. Because I beat Luke by 3.
You'd probably erase the beers you gained in the first section, which is a shame. I hate to see that happen.
Yeah.
And well done. Credit to Luke Wheeler as well for his win this week. He's jumped straight into the
in the middle. Yeah, he got himself.
Tell me more about that week.
Got himself out of the beer zone. Also, Sam. It's funny we're talking about Sam. Very low total score of 194, but just creeping out into the break-even zone. And
the magic of head-to-head.
The magic of head-to-head. It's a beautiful game.
Do you think you can get out of the beer owing zone, Lucas, with just one win if you win next week?
Well, look, as we all know, that's not true because I already won against Luke this week because Lamptey's red has stood, and regardless, I did win. But look, let's just play along with this little game of yours that you've got going on here. Well, I don't know. Mathematically, I think I can. So why not?
It depends who the other 1 and 3 people are playing against.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they're playing against each other, then no. But if they're not, then they'll probably lose. And see you later.
It's just important we follow the rules. I think we're following the rules.
The FPL rules, which state that your points don't change after your match day.
The Malik rules.
Oh, those ones. The parent night rules that got invented today, or
whenever we feel like. Luke actually wrote in with the rule change, which we liked.
Yeah, and you just approved it on the spot without consultation. I like it. I like the way this manages.
No, we did. There was consultation, but we obviously couldn't have you or Luke vote on it. So we had to create a separate group, send it in there.
Yeah.
And I'll just...
That's fair and reasonable.
The poll said, we had 16 people vote. We had 14 people in favour and 2 people against.
We won't name those who are against. We won't name them.
Oh, you don't want to... Yeah.
No.
You got to keep their anonymity, do you?
Yeah.
The science gone too far.
No, Lucas, we're joking.
Lucas can read through it. Bro, we punked him so good. No, Lucas, we know that you saw through it.
Yeah,
it was hectic to see you get that win.
Oh, crazy! Like actually, I was watching the game while my Year 7s were filling out a worksheet that I printed off so that they could do it while I was watching the game. I'm a great teacher.
You've done that.
What do you think
this season? I love it.
Oh, the Tuesday morning games that occur, I've got Year 7, so needs to be done.
But that is the beer table.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tom. We'll make sure that the correct version of the beer table is up for everyone to see.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Marcus, over to you for our Meet the Manager segment.
Yeah, thank you for that. I feel like we already touched on a lot of Meet the Management just then, but that's okay. And also, shout out to Lee for the reviews on the questions that are being asked. Love hearing positive feedback. Love hearing how much you're enjoying the questions that are being asked, which is actually a joke because he hates all the questions that are being asked. So we're going to pull out some more bizarre ones that have nothing to do with FPL. No, I was going to ask you, Lucas, if you could make up one FPL rule, what would it be? Seeing as Luke nearly got his FPL rule approved, what would you change?
Good question.
I like it. I reckon... I don't know. I reckon that it'd have to have something to do with like choosing a blank captain. I reckon if your captain blanks, then maybe those points get deducted off your score. I feel like captains are so important.
No.
That'd be huge.
and if you blanked a captain, then those 4 points would get deducted, or something like that.
Because that would work in. I can't remember the captain's table from last week, but there was a few captains who a few managers who had who'd only blanked once or twice.
Yeah,
so definitely
yeah.
in their favour. Definitely not in Bailey Mears' favour.
No,
Maybe
no.
even further down the table.
Yeah.
Which is very far down.
Very difficult because he's coming second last.
Yeah. Are you pretty happy with how you're going so far this year in FPL?
In FPL, yes. In head-to-head, no. I was looking at like my performance in head-to-head and the people that I've lost to. So I lost to Ryan by a couple of points. That's fair and reasonable. Ryan's a good player. And then I lost to Parlay by, I think it was a point. And looking at Parlay's overall score is, pretty horrendous.
It's a tear to your eye. A tear.
Oh, it is. Yeah. And then there's just
Six the stomach.
Actual waterfall of tears coming out when I lost to Bailey when he
Yes.
by a single, game week score. I think something like 25 points above my score. The average that week was around my average, and he just pulled a rabbit out of the hat on that one game week and went back to his rookie ways the game week after. And that really irked me like a lot. I tell you what, I was so stoked this morning when Wolves scored. You don't understand. I needed that badly. Yeah. And so that's kind of, I hope, a bit of redemption to get me out of the beer zone for this set of 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're becoming a recurring stat of the week of the amazing run of losing by only 1 or 2 points.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And if you look at the people that I've lost to, my average score is well above theirs per week, but it just happens that they're getting their best scores against me. Yeah.
They managed. In our comp, who do you reckon is the most, who does it make you sick to the stomach thinking of losing to them?
Surely Bailey.
Well,
you already had that.
Yeah.
That was a waterfall.
Yeah, I've already lost to Bailey. That's the thing, right?
Parlay changing his name to the Greek Basher. I
think that's it. I like Bailey and we get on well, and I commend Bailey on getting a really good point score that week. It was just unlucky that I had to verse him, because if anyone else had versed in that week, you would have lost as well.
Yeah.
But for me to lose against a racist little yappy chihuahua like Parlay, and by a single point,
and then for him to gallivant around as though he's like this amazing manager, that must hurt.
Exactly.
Are you anticipating has the ship turned around, or was that just a blip on the radar?
I think the tide's turned. I think I've got Simeon next week, and he's been doing all right in the last couple of weeks. He's got 2 free transfers next week, from what I can tell. So he could just go big and get, shuffle things around a little bit. I don't know, but if I can beat him, I think that'll be a really positive experience for me.
Yeah, hopefully it is a positive experience.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, because I can see how it does get you down, being in the bottom of the beer zone. How it could get you down. I've never experienced that. Geordie seems like he's come to terms with it, which isn't funny. We want people in the beer zone who kick and scream about it. Geordie's just accepted his fate.
I hope he's got cash to burn, because that's going to be expensive paying for 20 odd beers in the end if he does end up staying there.
Hey, I wonder if we're actually going to enforce it. That's the question. If you have thoughts, share them in the comment section. If not, that's all right as well.
Geordie did say that when his son, he's got a son. Yeah, he did say when his son was born, they set up a bank account for him, $25 a week. And he might just turn that tap on for the beers.
Yeah, he goes back to look at it in 25 years when he's off to uni. And he's like, Dad, where's it gone? And he's like, I had a bad string of FPL losses.
He's 2 units short of an arts degree, and he can't pay for it because his dad spent his money on FPL beers.
It's like, the one tiny act in his life, but just the whole domino effect.
That's right.
Hopefully
not. Right. Yeah, the
butterfly. Blessings and good wishes to you, Geordie. We hope things are going well in the Armsworth household.
Lucas, before we move on, we just want to touch on your team. You did mention you've got Simeon this week. Crucial match for you. You obviously want to get out of the beer zone, which I think you just are, but to make sure that you don't get in that zone at the end of the set of 5. We've got your team up on the screen. It reads as follows. You've got Martinez in goal, Creswell, Robertson and Chilwell in defence, De Bruyne, Grealish, Rodriguez, Bruno Fernandes, and then up front you've got Kane, Calvert-Lewin and Bamford. On the bench, Suchek, Dallas, and Kilman. Have you made any transfers for game week 10? And what are you going to do? Who are you going to captain?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I haven't figured out who I'm going to put in as defenders. Creswell's got a harder fixture. So I definitely keep Robbo and Chilwell in defence, but I don't know whether I'll keep Creswell or not. Haven't made that decision yet. I will make a transfer. In fact, I have already made a transfer. I wanted to jump on someone early.
Did she know about it?
Who is in red hot form at the moment. I won't say who, but yeah, they are a personal favourite of mine. And I'm happy to have them in my team. Probably not a person that, well, in fact, they're not a person that anyone I think in our league even has, maybe one or two people.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there we go.
Oh, that is fancy.
And then, yeah, there we go. And then, the rest of my team, I think, will stay unchanged. And I think I'll just try and swap out one of my defenders for Creswell if I do make a bench substitution. Yeah.
Okay, and who are you going to captain?
Well, look, I brought De Bruyne in this week in the hope that he'd do something this week, which he didn't, and that's okay. But I think it's going to be De Bruyne this coming week. If it's not him, I don't know yet. Yeah, but I'm thinking De Bruyne. He's got a good fixture. He's going to have to come good soon enough. He played phenomenally well last game week, was just unlucky. He could have scored, he could have assisted, but Tottenham held firm. But I think De Bruyne's going to do really well this week.
Oh, interesting. You've done really well. We saw last week that you've done really well with your captaincy picks. So wise words. People should listen to that. KDB, a good captaincy option. Following Lucas.
I don't think anyone's got him though. I mean, I'm sure that people will be looking to maybe bring him in, but he's a high price asset. So if you don't have 2 free transfers, it could be hard.
Now you've mentioned it, Parlay will surely follow suit.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Let's move on to the Game Week 10 preview. This is the crucial round. It's the last set in our last game in our set of 5. Over to you, Tom.
So Game Week 10. Now this game week is interesting. Many of you probably don't know this, but this week is the matchup. It's the only matchup we play 3 times.
Oh.
So we play everyone twice. This matchup we play 3 times.
Oh, that's bad.
Was
If you
in
play
me
versus
Brian.
Marcus.
That sucks.
Yeah. So
Right.
we got Bailey versus Parlay. Now Bailey had a shattering
Cellar
loss.
dwellers.
Yeah, and any bit of confidence he may have had still from his big week a few weeks ago, surely he's lost all that now. He must be distraught, and I think Parlay will waltz to a win here against Bailey. Now Ryan against Marcus, huge matchup.
Massive.
Crazy.
Ryan is the highest scorer over the last 5 weeks, but Marcus still hasn't lost. I was looking, I had a big long look at their teams beforehand, and it really comes down to what Marcus does with Zaha, I think, which determines this matchup. And I was racking my brain thinking, who am I going to pick here? But I think I'm going to pick Ryan, the highest total scorer over the last 5 weeks. I think Marcus will, not a huge error, but will make a slight error with Zaha and his replacement, and so we'll lose the matchup. That's my prediction.
Understand how you can be so specific with
Yeah.
calls, seeing as they're all incorrect.
Tommy,
I love it.
can I just say that the curse of the pod will continue, but it's not going to happen with me this week. It's going to happen with either Ryan or Marcus.
Ooh, okay.
That's true.
Interesting.
So, there we
Yeah,
go.
it'll be good for
Yeah.
someone in the pod. Be good for someone in the pod to finally have a loss. you
Yeah.
know?
It's been a while. It's
Yeah,
been a while.
It has been a while.
Feels good up top, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Top 1, 2,
let's
3.
go.
The air is clean.
Next matchup, Simeon versus Lucas.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, Lucas is going to win, I'm predicting, but just he's been in fine form with total score, but just loses the matchups. I think this will be a high scoring matchup. It'll be a tough one for Simeon to lose, I think. I think he'll score enough points to win most matchups, but will inevitably lose to Lucas. Then we got Luke
Comes
versus
down to
Lee.
those transfers of Simeon's.
Maybe if he makes 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Luke versus Lee. Does this count as a man house matchup?
It does.
Who knows?
Ooh, this
Whatever
is
it
a good
is. I think Luke backs up from a tough, close loss last week by 2 points. I think he continues his good form with a win, and Lee is in the beer zone, fully entrenched in there. We've got Brandon against Tom Job. Now, both of these blokes have been shocking recently. Shocking for scoring low and losing. Though Brandon could escape the beer zone with a win this week, I don't think he will. I think Tom will come away with a close win. Now, Sung Moo against Perrin.
Oh, man.
Perrin. Yeah.
How good. This is the only round that you get 3 times, and there's some amazing fixtures.
It is so good. Yeah. Now, Perrin's been in good form, but playing against Brian is never safe. I think Brian will wallop Perrin here by 20 points, I reckon. It's a shame. It means Perrin will fall out of the beer receiving zone and not get a chance to erase the beers he owed from before. It's a shame. David against Geordie. Now, Geordie's stuck in a big rut. I don't see him getting out of it. And David is back in form with a good win. I think he'll keep going. I think David wins here. We've got Daniel against Sam. Now, Sam had a 1-point win last week just to sneak him out of the beer owing zone. But Daniel is always too strong a challenge. I'm never going to pick against Daniel unless he has a sort of string of losses. But Daniel wins here. This is what I'm so excited for 3 times. Nikolai against me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I have a feeling I'm going to go 5 in a row here. I bet against myself last week, but I was so wrong and I won. So I'm not going to do that this week. I'm backing myself. Nikolai has shown himself to be an easy beat, and I'm going to crush him this week.
Yeah.
And he will probably go to the beer owing zone if he loses this.
He's already well in there, but yeah, he might even owe 3 or 4 beers after this game. Yeah.
Who's definitely owing so far? I know Geordie.
Geordie is tough for Tom, Job, and Lee.
Yeah.
And Nikolai, Bailey, Brandon teetering on the edge. Luke is kind of teetering on the edge too. I think Lucas is safe though. Yeah.
Oh, there's a few people in there.
We needed 1 win.
Oh, but I think I predicted Sam to lose. I think if Sam loses to Daniel, which I think he will, Sam will be in there too. But he's at 10th now.
Yeah, right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So that rounds out game week 10.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tom. Oh, those are amazing matchups. I can't wait to see how they play out. Lucas, over to you for the bold prediction. But before you give it to us, we just want to quickly review how Parlay went last week. He had a bit of a shocker. He predicted Liverpool to draw. They won. He predicted Leeds to beat Arsenal. They drew. He said to captain James Rodriguez, who would score a goal and get 2 assists, and he didn't do anything. But he did say that Bruno Fernandes is a good captain option. But, you know, saying the sky's blue doesn't mean anything.
He cast his net wide there.
Yeah, he did. Over to you, Lucas.
Yeah, a massive win for Liverpool, just pointing that one out. That was brilliant. Brought a tear to my eye, a happy tear. As I said before, I think KDB is a fantastic captaincy choice if you've got him in your team for this week. It's a pretty vanilla prediction. It's not my bold prediction. But my bold prediction for this week is that the sun will not rise and the Kane will be caned. I reckon that Son and Kane will both blank this week. So they've obviously been in pretty good form as a team, Tottenham. Kane and Son in brilliant form. But I reckon that's going to come to an end this week. They've scored in every match since game week 1. But I have a feeling that this is the game week where they will not be scoring as either Kane or Son. I don't care about the score in Tottenham's game, but I don't think Kane or Son will be part of the points.
Oh, would you advise people to sell?
Yeah. Well, I sold Son. Regretfully, probably 1 week too early, but I was going to sell him this week anyway. But I think you need to get rid of at least one of them. And I would suggest you get rid of Son over Kane, but that's a matter for debate as well. I think Chelsea have a brilliant defence, and they sit deeper than a lot of other teams. So City played a very high line against Tottenham, played really well into their counter-attacking football that they love to play, Tottenham. And that's what's happened over the last few game weeks as well. But, with Chilwell and Zuma and the others in defence, and they play a bit of a deeper line and a bit of a solid back 4, I think they'll do really well. Could even get a clean sheet against Tottenham.
Yes, that is bold.
Yeah.
We like that.
I also had a longer-term bold prediction, but I just want to get the wording right. So I wrote it down. Let me just get it up. Basically to do with the end of the season sort of beer table. So what I've predicted, and I did some sort of, looking at the beer table at the moment, but I reckon that no one under, Tommy, how old are you, by the way?
23.
This is going to help for my prediction. There we go. Okay,
23.
good. So no one under 24 will end up in the top 6 by the end of the year.
Ooh.
No one under 24.
Not even Daniel?
No. But there'll be more people over 24 than under 24 in the bottom 6.
Okay.
Wait.
So keep that one in mind.
I need to wrap my head around that.
Okay. So essentially, I'm saying that the older people in the group are going to come top 6. So, people like Brian and Marcus, yourself, Ryan. No one under 24. So not Tom, not Dan, definitely not Parlay. No one under 24. But in the bottom 6, so the people who are owing beers, there will be more people who are over 24.
I'm trying to picture
24.
who you're thinking. You're
So
thinking Geordie Lee, Tom Job,
Brandon,
Simeon. Well, there's more already.
There you go. Yeah, you've named 5 of them.
Yeah. So the middle will just be like me, Parlay, Daniel, Sam. Is that what you're saying?
Bailey, Dave Mears. Sorry, Dave Murray.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Interesting.
I can't wait to listen to our round 1 predictions, by the way, as well. Off the back of that. Because, I back what you're saying, Lucas. I do agree. Well, I think it'll go that way. I don't know. Who cares? We'll see.
There you go.
Very interesting, Lucas. Those are some great bold predictions. Well done. Really, really cool. Well, that's it for this week. Just want to say that it's another early deadline this weekend. So it's Saturday morning at 5:30. First game kicks off at 7 a.m. Saturday morning. And
who's playing that game?
I think it's Crystal Palace and Newcastle, something like that.
Yeah, boring. Okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And a special announcement. If you've listened to the pod this long, you need to subscribe to Tom's channel. Post evidence of that. You can just take a screenshot. Post evidence of that in chat. And also post I love the pod in the WhatsApp group. The first person to do so, I will donate one of my beers from my overall total to them.
Ooh, okay.
I like that. Yeah. That's real nice.
But that's it from us. Thanks for listening. All the best, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.